there, everybody.
Good day.
So this is the Reboot Review,
It's Alphanumeric.
I'm Robin.
I'm Katie.
And what are we going to do today, Katie?
Watch a show.
And talk about it.
It's ReBoot.
Yeah, very special show.
Yes, an episode full of things that happen.
So many happening things.
Yes.
Yeah. So this episode today is The Edge of Beyond. But before we launch into The Edge of Beyond, when I was doing like the putting the assembly on the last episode, when we were doing, oh my goodness, it's already escaped me. Return of the Crimson Binome. That's what it's called. When we were doing Return of the Crimson Binome, there were things that came up on that like I put in the description and I added like text and stuff on screen, but I wanted to like mention them to Katie as well on the microphone. So we're going to rewind quickly to the previous episode, Edge of Beyond, because remember we were wondering about a voice of a specific, like a particular character. We heard this guy's voice and we were like, we feel like we should know this guy, and we don't. That was the Slimy Goober, I'm pretty sure, was what his character's called.
Okay.
And what's funny is we both did and did not know that voice.
Okay.
We had no reason to recognize it as it was, but that was actually a cameo from Jesse Moss. Do you remember that name?
That
is season 1 Enzo.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That is very... Wow.
Does it feel like we should just go, screw this, we're just going to go back and rewatch episode 32 now so you can hear?
Yeah, probably. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, maybe after we're done this, we'll go back and play it for you so you can hear it again. But no, they brought him in for a cameo. And the thing is, I knew he had a cameo coming up and I forgot it was that episode. So I feel like I dropped the ball on that choice reboot trivia right there.
Yeah, we missed out.
And also, I remembered where Copeland came from because we were talking about key tool names.
Yes.
Copeland, of course, was named for Michael Copeland, who was a big deal in 90s tech. That's the Canadian guy who founded Corel.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why Turbo's tool was called Copeland, was because that was a big name in Canadian tech, and it's a Canadian show set in computers, so it's just a cute little nod to the now defunct Corel. If we were more organized,
we could have told you that right in the show.
Like in the show.
Knowing that.
And I did add it like afterwards, like in the description and otherwise.
So we did actually tell you during the show.
Yeah, but I felt like I needed to get Katie's feedback on it. Maybe I was a bit rushed in the prep for that one, but hopefully I wasn't on this one, The Edge of Beyond. So, yeah, I guess we were just kind of talking about not being quite sure what happened with this one, because this is where they all kind of tend to blur together into one.
It's just like a lot of stuff on a boat.
Yep, stuff on a boat. That's pretty much what sums up the next arc.
Right.
Of like the 3 episodes before we, end up back in mainframe. Spoiler.
Right.
So anyway, without any further delay, should we get started?
Let's find out what happens.
Yeah, let's actually find out. It's a good way to know. Starting now. Ooh. I mean, again, not that this opening doesn't give away everything, as we noticed last time. It's a very showing everything that happens, like the movie trailers that give away the whole everything.
What is wrong with movie trailers these days? I mean, really.
My friend.
Save that one for the movie trailer review.
I know. But seriously, there's some movies where I'm like, I don't need to watch this movie now. I really don't.
No. It's like, okay, I got it. I see where this is coming from.
It is hard. Like, you want to see more of those evil guardians.
Yeah, and you don't.
At all.
I mean, in season 4, you see them all, like, infected, but that's them being, like, the lovey-dovey...
Yeah, they're not evil anymore.
Yeah, they're not the evil ones. They're which, I mean, becomes a whole continuity thing for a lot of people with season 4, but... It's not actually my biggest gripe with season 4.
I know. If I had to complain about one thing...
That wouldn't be it, yeah.
I could believe that, like, she would put them on as enforcers first, and then what she...
That was some people's, like, sort of retcon explanation. Oh, there's some cool... That it's funny how that little like wavy sound, I don't even know how to describe that, like the tweet,
like the rainbow.
Yeah, the bells. Rainbow sound, rainbow bells. We're gonna call them that. It's something I totally associate with season 3 now. It's such a distinct season 3 sound effect. Like they introduced it for season 3 and then they used it for a lot of things.
I didn't even notice it. Oh, such a bad listener.
The thing is, I think I only notice it when I hear it, and suddenly I'm flooded with memories of Reboot season. Like even though I'm watching Reboot season 3, I hear that sound and I'm like back in 1997 again. Like it just brings me back instantly.
Where's Bob? I know he's out there. So shiny.
So very shiny. Like how much was this like a the level of sophistication and growth in the technology they could do meant they did like raise suit texture just because they could.
Right,
They were like, oh,
exactly.
look at this cool thing we can do now. How are we going to use this? It looks like a surfer suit.
Yeah.
Follow the captain anywhere.
It didn't have to look like that to look like a surfer suit, but they
No, but it just looked extra cool like that.
Mr. Christopher,
Yes, sir.
it appears, my lad, that we've reached the edge of beyond.
They said the title in the episode. They said the title in the episode. I wonder how often they do that in ReBoot. Like, it seems like a regular thing, but not super regular.
well, I mean, we would have noticed it now doing this review, but I don't think I've
But we haven't been
noticed it.
keeping track.
I get,
Yeah.
but we get really
Like,
excited about
This-
those things.
Yeah, this is true.
What we're looking for is just
Straight on till morning.
A tear. But how can we stabilize it to get through to the web?
Leave that to me, love. But first, we need protection.
Wait, but wasn't Matrix stabilizing pairs? Wasn't that one of the things he could still do?
You outlast a cycle in
That's
them
why he
without
was
web
like helping
shields,
all those other systems.
which we can make out of those.
Oh, now I feel like a bad fan.
Maybe it's too big.
Web creatures? I get
I
you,
can only
lad.
do the little ones.
In the scales of the dragon.
Ew. I do like the idea that if you just sail the net long enough, you'll get to the web.
Yeah, that's true, really.
Just keep going.
Yeah. You don't even have to go in any particular direction. It's more of a time-based
Right,
abstract
exactly.
thing.
Just
Yeah.
keep going.
Just continue on until you feel webby.
Right.
And then you'll know. That's a nice touch that they like know they have to cover up like the grates and stuff, and they would even give you a shot referring to it.
Yeah, and the fact that they probably did that was on old ships.
Yeah,
That-
true.
Yeah, like they would have
Yeah.
that as protocol.
Yeah, because for all of like the new vehicle design and the creative vehicle design that's in these,
Here.
oh,
let me
girls.
do that.
I know.
It's
can't
gross
get the
and
scale
hard.
up. I can't stop staring at the toque in the background. It wiggles in such an interesting way.
Matrix.
Now that was someone caring about what they were doing. But yeah, so with all like the futuristic, just kick the bucket over.
Be that way.
But yeah, with all like the fancy vehicle design, that in building this ship, they just went back to like, okay, but what does an old school pirate ship really look like? And they just straight up researched like, I know that's not a tall ship, is it? I don't know anything about ships, but
It looks pretty tall.
but yeah, they just researched pirate ships and went with something old school,
Oh, girls love pretty things. It's so shiny.
right? Totally not gross like that web creature I was trying to dismantle.
Andrea, not that! We've got to stop her.
She's such a dummy.
Sometimes girls got to be saved from themselves, apparently.
Yeah.
Enzo!
Andrea!
I have this weird kind of feeling that they wanted to go like face hugger with that, just
I
based
know,
on the
the shape
design
of
and the
the-
way
yeah.
it cracks out of the egg. And they were like, you know what? No, that's too far even for season 3 reboot.
Yeah. Yeah. But they totally would have done it.
They would have. They were thinking about it. You could see that.
Her arm, man. That's not cool.
No.
Good. Command line.
I mean, for all we know, she's just been inoculated.
No!
I'm warning you, surfer.
If you kill the web creature, you kill Andrea. Trust me.
Then go get it.
I do. Once again, that like even though it's been done and the creature's running away, Matrix is like, I gotta kill it just for
I need
vengeance.
to kill something.
I'm angry. Let me take it out on something.
There are no buckets around here.
I've lost it.
Don't worry. You'll pick it up again once you're through.
The web is so small. I mean, really, it's like a room.
They even had the squeaky sound effects for him wiping it down. Polishing it up. Oh, now it looks organic, creepy, futury, alien-y.
We be finishing the last battle, Captain. Tell me
I just
the
have to
truth,
give mad
lad.
respect for
Can
ReBoot
we
in general.
save
It's being like, in season 1 being
Andrea?
like, we like
'Twould break me
pirates.
heart to lose
Let's have some
such a gallant
pirates.
lady.
And now they're like, we like aliens.
would break
Let's have
mine
some
as well.
aliens. And it's just like whatever
I'd face
it
any
is that they
danger
think
for
is
Andrea.
cool, they find a way to put it in ReBoot.
And
Why
it
don't you
always
go
works.
It does, yeah.
Yes.
Even without the device of the games. Like, the games is such an easy device to introduce whatever genre.
Oh, look at his little face. Sorry.
Sad Ray.
It's true though. Like they can. They're so creative, I guess, and that's it.
Yeah.
So they just have fun with whatever they do.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a certain amount of, like, just not caring about the constraints. That,
Right.
you
Which
know.
is what makes a cool show.
Yeah, exactly.
The captain says we're ready to go.
And it's funny how long the fans kind of kept having discussions about time frames, like whether a nanosecond was equal to a
Right.
second, and then like a
Yes.
second, is that equal to a day, or is it like a month or a
Bad.
year?
The surgeon
And
was right.
like
The creature
fans would
stole
have
more
all
than
these
humanity.
discussions before we realized that
part of a code.
they didn't care or pay attention to any of that. Why should we?
Right, because we have to know.
Right?
You say
We must know the
these
precise
scales will
mechanics of
protect
how
us
the
from
ReBoot universe
ravages
works,
of
even
the
if there are
web.
none.
But what about
Well,
your
oh, it just reminds me of the
Not
people who
to
go
worry.
through a book to
I've got
find
it covered.
the one mistake that the editors missed,
Yeah.
and they highlight it.
You
circle
didn't
it,
have to point out to
surprise.
everybody, and yeah. Also, in addition to the shininess, gotta appreciate that cool gradient going on like the strip on the side of his surfer suit.
I hadn't really
Next
paid
time we see it,
attention.
I'll make sure to.
It's too fast.
He is.
Oh, I saw. I saw.
Dang
it.
you, Tracer.
Ooh,
Yeah,
cool.
yes, like on the arms and side of his legs. Some sweet gradient action. That's a cool effect. I like the shaky cam with the kind of blurriness of it.
quarter speed ahead, Mr. Andrews, and stay close to the surfer? Aye, aye, Captain.
Blue Lulu. I love how they stuck with the classic swirly arms.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, hey, you know what the web looks like, ReBoot viewers. You've seen this before.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just gonna make sure you know we're in the same place.
Nice guitar riff.
Yes, sweet guitar riffs, always an important part of ReBoot.
It's the density of the data, sir.
Also, like, gotta throw some appreciation to how cool it is that, like, we've been set up for the web since season 2, when the idea of Bob being blasted into the web and the creatures that came from it were, like, really awful.
Yeah.
And yeah, the fact that Bob was blasted into the web was, like, meant to be a certain doom for him. And now it's like, hey, after all that setup, you get to see the web, everybody.
Yay!
Like, it's a cool thing to have delivered on, you know?
Yeah, it's true. Like, especially because it felt like that was it after season 2.
Yeah,
like, it just kind of felt like they were
we thought we were never going to see the web.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, it definitely lives up to the expectation.
Yeah, like it's very intimidating and
Creepy.
gloppy and red and purple, which are colors
Nebula.
that feel a little supernatural.
No,
Nebulous.
Nebulous.
over here. Follow me.
Nebulistic. This is some very new music, isn't it? We haven't really heard themes like this before. It was like they even had to kind of come up with a different
It just sounds
soundscape
like a
for the
game,
web.
really.
Actually, yeah, it does sound a bit like the kind of music they would play in the games.
Captain, I don't like the look of this. We're heading right into a storm.
Aye, that we are, Mr. Christopher. Now brace yourself. There be rough seas ahead.
I love the Capacitor's attitude. We're heading into a storm. We sure are.
Yep.
We sure are. Speaking of nebulous.
Yeah, I really like how it looks very spacey.
Yeah, well, again, they were just like, we like aliens. Let's make an
So many
alien
aliens.
space portion of Media Offline. It's good.
Still with the taters.
Again, those little cute details that, like, the show just isn't the same show without, like, cutting to a random binom doing something cute.
Yes,
Like,
it's true. That is ReBoot. I like how Capacitor's like, oh, fine, take it the helm, it's fine.
I've gotten through worse.
Bursting.
Or maybe he has to defer to him. He's a sprite.
Right? Again, back to this classist commentary.
Dixie, it's not his ship.
But he gets first dibs. So Tracer just uses magic web powers to, like, blast them away, like a open
like a
space
tunnel?
through the storm. Yeah.
Storm tunnel?
The old girl maiden.
I do feel bad because really, Ray is like a nice guy. Like,
Yeah,
it's
seriously,
such a raw
he cares
deal.
about people, and just because he chose to, like, push
What
some
went wrong?
jerk's
Did you lose the
buttons,
Nay, lad.
and he's useful,
Yes, exactly.
Steered into a
he might be almost as
storm?
useful as Frisket
I
around
might
here.
have guessed. Only a hard-headed psychopath could be so stupid.
I did it for Andrea. I need her energy back from that web creature.
You could have gotten everyone deleted, including Andrea.
I don't need this.
Well, you're going to hear it.
Oh man. I like Party Pack.
It's one of those things where you
No,
go back and you
I'm
see
okay.
character interactions as an adult, and you actually
This
see
is
who the
my
rational
opinion.
person was.
Yes.
I mean, not that I ever
You better
thought
do as
Matrix
I
was
say.
rational, but it felt a little bit more like two-sided back then. But now you're like, yeah, Ray's, he
He's-
knows what he's
yeah.
saying, yeah, and doing.
And he's like a little brother who just knows how to make someone annoyed.
Hey, server,
Exactly.
There be only one captain on this ship, and I give the orders.
I think.
Yeah.
You'll take your
You know, I don't need to steer all the
And
time.
as
Let's
for
be
you,
clear, that's
Enzo
fine. but-
Matrix, it's only for the sake of your sweet sister Dot that I tolerate this behavior. I'll not warn ye again.
I do like how Dot can always be subtly used
If he keeps
as,
this up,
like,
he'll destroy us all.
like a leverage against Enzo. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool. How, like, you just kind of have to invoke her name, and he's like, "Oh,
Would you
right, yeah."
mother think?
Let that Enzo be no more.
I do remember being touched by that scene
Yeah.
a little bit, even back in the day. Like, just seeing how much everyone's mad at him for being as brash as he's always been.
Yeah.
Or learned how to be.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And, you know, maybe him understandably feeling a little ganged up upon, but maybe
But also
starting to get
realizing, too, that
getting some
he's-
perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe he will mature someday after all.
It's funny, like, this is kind of what I remember from these episodes. It's just like a lot of waiting
Yeah.
and trying to make things seem tense, but really
It's just them kind of
Just
floating around in a
dragging.
ship a whole lot, yeah. And yeah, just like being in the web, like, okay, cool, we're in the web. And like, for as cool as the web is, the color scheme gets very dark and a little more like there's bright color, but it overall just feels so much more dreary, and it's a bit monotonous.
Yeah, it does
visually.
stagnate.
Yeah,
Yeah, quickly.
You don't get changes in color
gonna borrow your
palettes
trident.
or like anything
promise I'll
like
bring it
bright and
back.
visual that
It's
would
all
kind
just
of
red and
yeah, and I think there's like a little bit of lizard brain that just kind of gets lulled into, you know.
I know exactly what you mean. It's closed in and it doesn't actually feel as vast.
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel open and interesting. It's just
Yeah,
dark
exactly.
and gloomy. I mean, that's obviously what they're going for, but
Don't
Yeah.
forget,
like you said, you
have to
you
bring the
don't.
creature
It
back
doesn't.
alive.
It just drags
Yeah,
because of it.
and I wonder what would have happened if the web creatures had been more colorful.
Yeah,
Because I think maybe they made them dark initially because they were going to contrast with the bright poppiness of Mainframe. Because initially we met web creatures in Mainframe. But now that we're in their environment that matches their kind of gray color palette, everything's just kind of gray. So I'm like, if the web creatures had been brightly colored instead, I wonder if we automatically would have had something a little more visually engaging.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, or if the web didn't all have to look the same.
Yeah. Mind you, I'm sure budget constraints play a big part in all of this, too, in terms of those backgrounds being used and kept that same color scheme, because that's you're not going to go with multiple color schemes
Easy.
in a single episode, because that's going to start getting really expensive to do all those different backgrounds,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
of course. Is this the one? It seems a lot bigger than it was.
Yeah, actually.
Wasn't it very small when it?
I think it was like a larva, and then it, like, after biting her, that like triggered its next life stage. Like it got some web creature juice in it.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
You know?
Because it was in that little pod.
Yeah.
So.
Follow the pod!
Aye, aye, Captain.
He said the word that I just said, with a different context.
Look!
I said pod, and he said pod.
Pod. Wow.
But
He knew.
He knew. He was listening.
I knew. I didn't know though.
It's a terrible thing.
He's been taken.
he was a brave lad. Foolhardy, but brave.
That's a really accurate eulogy.
Gave his life for Andrea. For me. It's not right. I'm going out there.
Tah! I knew it would come to this! Princess Bula!
It just took someone really helpful dying.
Yes.
Keep you safe.
I made this myself.
The lads have been working on this for ye.
You know, just in case you grew a pair.
Take care of her for me. Out there, she'll degrade.
Say no more, lad.
That's a cool
Ready,
suit
your
design.
soup?
It is.
I approve of that suit design.
Cool.
Also means he's still alive out there somewhere. Although, okay, so Tracer's health is tied to the health of the board.
Yes.
But the board regenerates with time, like in a video game when you can just run around and get your HP back.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess that means Ray Tracer can just regenerate his health with time?
I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe that's it.
that's handy. It's good power to have.
Yeah. Yeah, if he gets taken out quickly, that's the only way you can get him.
Yeah,
I guess you have to destroy
You gotta cut off his head.
board completely.
Oh yeah, no, that's right, because you have to attack the board.
Yeah. Destroy the
Okay,
board.
no, you put a stake through it and then you light it on fire.
Right.
Yeah, that's how it works, right?
With garlic. Silver
And silver bullets.
sunscreen.
Silver.
Board wax. Slice.
Oh right, I forgot that.
But I mean, like, really?
Was that really what you need? Although, you know what, that's a good move. That's a smart move, like story-wise, I think.
Yeah, but it's
'Cause
just like how easy that thing fell off. I mean, like,
that
it's
too.
computers. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's that simple to flick that off. Bye. Okay, that's a cool shot.
That is cool.
G'day, mate. Need a lift?
Surfer? We have to follow the pod. I've lost the target.
No, mate. We should go back to the ship.
Wait, so did the alien get sucked into that thing?
I don't know.
No. Okay, no, it
Or-
just ran off.
Is that their herd?
It's a fashion
Their herd
statement.
of
I told you
that's
I had
their
it covered.
their pod? The web creatures
Covered my
pod of
ASCII.
web creatures?
What
You mean the one with the web riders on it?
The web riders, that's
Yeah,
what it
yeah.
is.
Next generation.
That's theirs, right?
Web creatures and web riders. We gotta make sure we're clear on the
Web
distinction,
creatures
or else
and the
this is
other
gonna
web
get even
creatures.
more confusing.
Yes, exactly.
What happened, lad? The pod's moved off. There's nothing out there.
You're wrong, Captain. There is something out there. I suggest you order battle stations.
I suggest you order pizza.
We're gonna have a lot of company, Captain.
Oh man. Oh, I love that classic sound.
Oh, yeah. It's so nostalgic if you grew up in that area. Not area, era.
Yes. Thanks for that thrilling episode.
Yeah. I mean, like stuff definitely happened, but it was because nothing resolved. It set up a whole bunch of things, and then you thought it was going to be resolved, but then it just got worse when he knocked the target off.
Yes.
And then like, the thing is, like, that cliffhanger is interesting because we know who that web rider is who's talking to his gang.
Yes.
So it's interesting to us after the fact, but when you're watching it for the first time and the cliffhanger is all these web riders, they don't look very interesting. They're not particularly well distinguished from one another. You don't even get to see their faces. You have no idea what their motivation is. That's not really much like, here's these guys you just met and you don't care about. Cliffhanger.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like, well, not really.
They're just as bad as a web creature. Okay, fine.
Sure. We haven't even seen them do anything yet,
Yeah.
really, besides be kind of hostile to Matrix when he came out to try and hunt a web creature.
That's right. Yeah.
So, and who knows why they were doing that. So like, yeah, that's one of those cliffhangers. It's like, yeah, because the screenwriters knew that was Bob. I guess it seemed exciting to them to finish off on them, but to the audience that doesn't know, you're just like,
You could have had this happen earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, she could have gotten bitten 5 minutes later. We could have had a few montages of them traveling and then boom.
Or even, get bitten when she does and then they're off chasing, like, and things I don't even really remember what happened that they could have cut or sped up. I'm like going back, and partly it's because we're talking over it, right? It's a little harder for us to follow all the ins and outs and details this time around. But nonetheless, I think it's, because it was a lot of standing around on the ship and having conversations and like the
Going into storms.
Yeah. And like the arguments with Ray Tracer, like that stuff was engaging.
Yeah.
Like all the Matrix Ray stuff was good and the Matrix capacitor stuff was good. So, like, it wasn't that the stuff happening on the ship was super boring. It just seemed like it kind of kept looping back to the same stuff.
Right. I guess it's just like, we're looking for Bob. Now we're looking for a web creature.
I think that's it.
This. Like,
it's like, because as they're so intent on the search for the web creature so that they can save Andrea, you forget that Bob's part of the equation. But that's why they originally went in, and it really kind of just splits your focus and your intentions. And I mean, it's not a terrible episode. Like, it's still, enjoyable enough, but it is definitely a little bit draggy, and one of those episodes where at the end it's hard to sort of go back and be like, wait, so what went on? And I go back to the idea that that's partly because of the monotony of the color palette and it being a lot harder to associate certain scenes or visual cues with events that happened because everything was set against the same backdrop pretty much. Yeah,
I think so. I think you're right. And like, there is something very constrained. Is that a good word? Like it just feels tight. Everything, it doesn't feel wide and open. That's it. Claustrophobic is a good word for it. It's just, it all feels, the web, you don't get the sense of it being big and
that's
limitless.
true.
It's just like little,
it's
tiny.
It
little
feels like
tunnels.
being in a sparkly cave.
Yes, that's exactly what it feels like.
Which again was probably part of the constraints that they had from a production standpoint. Of making it look cool and ominous, but also having to
wrap it
build
up
all of those
quickly.
things to be the cool, ominous background and make them look exotic and foreign and spacey and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, not a bad episode, but definitely not a memorable one. Aside from, like, you remember Andrea getting bitten, and you remember Enzo fighting with Ray, and you might remember the part at the beginning where they put the scales on the ship, but for the longest time, I couldn't remember if that was this episode or the end of the last one.
I know. Yeah.
So you remember moments out of it, but there's nothing cohesive about it as an episode where you're like, that's the episode where such and such happens, right?
Yeah, because nothing happens.
Exactly. It's just, it's the start of this story arc. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, so kind of middling feelings on The Edge of Beyond, but it's okay.
It's something. It's all right. Sorry. It's fine.
I know. Do you like less than that even?
No, I would say it's fine. It's one of those ones, like, I don't think about how I'm excited to watch it again.
Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly. And a lot of these episodes, it's, you sort of turn them off and you're like, man, I could just go for more ReBoot.
Yeah.
Then I could even watch that episode again. That was super fun. Or like, because we talk over them, sometimes you want to go back and watch it again and see what you missed. Enjoy it. Yeah. But this isn't one of those ones that really compels you to do that.
No, we're good.
Yeah. We can move on to the next one, which we will do next time here on the ReBoot Review. So until that next time, I'm Robin.
And I'm Katie.
Stay frosty.
And you might want to order pizza.